Welcome back. Today, we're diving straight into part 11 of the fantastic 12-part tutorial, The Modern Data Center, Networking in the AI Age. This comes to us from the folks over at Virtualization Options LLC, a technology research and advisory group out in Colorado. We're unpacking their technical roadmap from Chapter 11, and let me tell you, we're looking at exactly how these massive trillion-parameter AI models are forcing us to completely rip up and rethink infrastructure at the bleeding edge. If you thought the network was just a series of dumb pipes connecting compute resources, well, you're in for a massive paradigm shift.
So, here's our game plan for today's roadmap. We'll start with the AI traffic transformation, look at exactly how AI breaks the network, and check out next-gen hardware. Then we'll dive into the battle against congestion, the very real power and heat crisis, and finally wrap it all up with the co-designed data center. All right, let's jump right into part 1, the AI traffic transformation. To really grasp where we're headed and why today's AI workloads are so incredibly disruptive, we first need to quickly unpack the legacy architectural assumptions we're leaving in the dust. Let's breeze through the heritage of the network just to set our baseline before AI comes in and completely wrecks it. We started way back in 1973 with Ethernet, right? Just a simple shared medium plugging along at about 3 megabits per second. Fast forward to the 90s, and we scaled up using that classic three-tier model: access, distribution, and core. That setup was perfectly optimized for north-south traffic, clients talking to servers. But as virtualization totally exploded, traffic flipped sideways, going server to server. And that sparked the spine leaf revolution of the 2010s, which gave us that mathematically beautiful two-hop guarantee for east-west traffic, locking in deterministic latency. Now, this brilliantly captures our core paradigm shift. The network is no longer just a simple transport layer. It's a co-equal compute system. Think about it. In a standard data center, if the network gets a little congested, things just take a split second longer. No big deal. But in an AI factory, where you're running hundreds of millions of dollars worth of GPU infrastructure, every single network stall translates directly to wasted GPU hours. Literally, you are burning money and losing revenue. Moving on to Section 2. How AI breaks the network, or as I like to call it, the tyranny of the tail. What's absolutely fascinating here is how AI training completely shatters those traditional network assumptions we just talked about. It's really not just about shoving more bandwidth through the pipes. It's about the network having to behave with absolute, flawless synchrony.
Let's look at how this builds up during an AI collective. We're specifically looking at the ring-all-reduce process, which is where abstract math suddenly turns into a massive, very real network bottleneck. See, when you're training a model, thousands of GPUs have to constantly sync up their work. They form a logical ring. First, they scatter chunks of their data to their neighbors. Then, they build these partial mathematical sums locally. Next, they gather those sums back around the ring until every single GPU holds the exact same fully updated gradient. Basically, these are the math updates needed to make the AI smarter. But here's the brutal catch. This entire operation absolutely cannot finish until the very slowest participant crosses the finish line.
And that brings us to the tyranny of the tail. Get this, a tiny, seemingly insignificant 0.1% packet loss will drop your entire multi-million-dollar cluster's throughput by 10 to 30%. I mean, wow. A single degraded optic, or just a microsecond of queue congestion on one switch, literally stalls every single GPU in that barrier synchronization. This makes a lossless network an absolute non-negotiable requirement.
Okay, Section 3, Next-Gen Network Hardware. Because to prevent these catastrophic stalls and actually keep pace with these massive bandwidth demands, the physical hardware under the hood has to evolve, and fast. We are literally hitting the physical limits of copper. This is pushing the entire industry toward a mandatory migration to optical connectivity for pretty much anything leaving the rack. At the current frontier of 224 gigabit per second signaling, those electrical signals degrade so rapidly that traditional passive copper cables max out at, maybe half a meter to a meter? You literally cannot connect two boxes across a room without fiber optics anymore. The physics just won't let you.
So vendors are striking back with some wild specialized silicon and co-packaged optics to try and drastically reduce the massive power budget of these high-speed ports. We're seeing merchant silicon like the Broadcom Tomahawk 5 pushing an insane 51.2 terabits per second. We've got data processing units, or DPUs, running their own operating systems to handle zero-trust security totally independent from the host CPU. And crucially, we're seeing co-packaged optics. This is where the optical engine sits right next to the switch chip, and it's a huge game changer. It cuts port power consumption by up to 40% simply because the electrical signal doesn't have to fight its way across a long circuit board first.
Now we have to draw a hard line here, because designing a fabric for AI training is a completely different beast than designing one for AI inference. Training demands one-to-one non-blocking bandwidth. Every single GPU has to transmit at full speed simultaneously without dropping a single packet. Inference, on the other hand, which is when the AI is actually answering your prompts, is totally different. It's all about hitting tight user latency targets, meaning the network has to deliver the response in under a few hundred milliseconds. And it can usually tolerate standard 3-to-1 oversubscription. You really can't just build one network and optimize it for both. They are fundamentally different missions.
Let's dive into Section 4, the battle against congestion. Because once you have all that hardware in place, you've still got to fight the software battle of congestion management. In an AI fabric, congestion isn't just a minor annoyance, it is a full-blown correctness failure. The fabric has to perform this incredible balancing act. It has to juggle massive, buffer-hogging elephant flows against highly sensitive, latency-critical mice flows. Think of an elephant flow as this massive, gigabyte-scale checkpoint save that just plods along for seconds. A mice flow, though, is a tiny, kilobyte-sized parameter update that absolutely must finish in a microsecond. If those little mice get stuck waiting in a buffer behind a giant elephant, boom, the whole cluster stalls out.
So to fix this, we combined some very specific protocols to create a lossless environment over Ethernet, keeping those incredibly expensive GPUs happily fed with data. I know, this can sound like alphabet soup, but here's how these pieces elegantly lock together. First, we use explicit congestion notification, or ECN. This politely marks packets to tell senders, hey, slow down a bit, before a massive traffic jam even happens. If that proactive approach fails, Priority Flow Control, or PFC, kicks in as the emergency brake to physically pause traffic and prevent a dropped packet. Finally, we layer on adaptive routing to dynamically steer traffic around bottlenecks, which stops multiple flows from accidentally piling up on the exact same path.
This brings us to Section 5, the power and heat crisis. It's time we step out of the abstract cloud and look at the brutal physical constraints of the modern data center. Because right now, we aren't limited by how many servers we can cram into a room. We are strictly limited by the physical electrical grid itself.
Just look at this number. A single state-of-the-art AI rack, like the NVIDIA GB200, draws over 130 kilowatts. To put that in perspective, that is more than 3 times the maximum limit that traditional air cooling can even handle. Standard data center air conditioning ceilings out at roughly 30 to 40 kilowatts per rack, we have blown completely past that limit.
And this intense physical reality forces us right into direct liquid cooling. That means your pristine network cables now have to share prime real estate with hardcore plumbing manifolds. Because liquid water has, roughly 3,500 times the heat capacity of air, we are literally pumping water directly to cold plates on the GPU dies. It's incredible engineering, but for the network engineer, it means you're carefully routing incredibly delicate fiber optics around industrial fluid distribution units, praying you don't snap anything or cause a leak.
And because building a utility-grade substation takes upwards of 36 months, the electrical constraints you're going to face in 2027 have to be actively planned for right now, today. A massive 100,000 GPU factory literally requires as much power as a small city. You definitely can't just order that from your local power company on a whim. The network capacity plan and the power capacity plan, they are now mathematically permanently coupled together. Which leads perfectly into our final section, Section 6, the co-designed data center. All of this insane complexity points to one thing: a necessary organizational revolution. You simply cannot build a modern AI factory using the old siloed IT methods of the past. It just won't work.
And this brings us to the absolute aha moment of this explainer: goodput. This is the exact metric that proves your network's direct impact on the bottom line. See, we don't care about raw link utilization anymore. If a network is running at 90% capacity but it's dropping packets and causing a ton of retransmissions, it is failing, period. Goodput only measures the useful synchronization bandwidth, the data that actually advances the AI model and drives business value.
So, to squeeze out maximum goodput, traditional IT and facilities silos have to merge into a single, unified, co-designed machine. One budget, one blueprint. The electrical team sizing the substation, the mechanical team routing those crazy cooling pipes, and the network team picking out the optical switches. They have to work together from day zero. Think about it. A liquid-cooled rack can weigh up to 1,300 kilograms. If the mechanical team hasn't validated the floor loading to make sure the floor won't collapse, the network team sure isn't getting in there to install their switches anyway.
As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on for your next major deployment. In the AI era, Are you optimizing for raw link utilization, or are you optimizing for useful work per dollar per watt? Every single decision you make, from selecting co-packaged optics to tuning your ECN thresholds down to planning your liquid cooling manifolds, must serve that single equation. The network engineers who master this holistic, co-designed approach, they're going to be the true architects of the AI revolution. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.